Good evening, and welcome to Night 3, Episode 3 of College Information Week. My name is Jeff Grifa. I'm one of the college counselors here at McQuaid, and I work alongside Mr. John Young, who is the other college counselor, as well as the director of our office. There's also Miss Anne-Marie Galetta with whom we work, and she is the College Advisement Center Coordinator, and she's also the site manager for Naviance. And that is the topic of tonight's program, Naviance. And I'm going to give you an overview on how the program works, what we can use it for, and the many benefits involved with it. I also had the privilege of working alongside Mr. Jim Traver, Miss Sarah Snyder, Mr. Scott Allen, and Miss Margaret Gorton, the other school counselors who will help you with your social, emotional, and academic needs. And among all of us, you're going to have hundreds of years worth of experience to help your students and families navigate high school and think about life after McQuaid. In addition to those wonderful people, I also work with Miss Amy Shefford. She is our registrar as well as our counseling office manager, and she's also the magician behind the scenes, if you will, who makes all of the technical stuff easy for us, and so that we can bring this programming that you've experienced throughout the week to you. So I would like to say thank you to everybody with whom I work. You have a wonderful team of people who really care about students, and I think, like I said before, with all the experience and expertise that we have, you're bound to get the help that you need. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Tonight I'm going to be talking about Naviance. Naviance is a college search and application tool that we at McQuaid have been using since 2007, which is a long time. The program has evolved significantly throughout the years, and it has made our jobs as counselors much different and I think much better. For instance, around this time of year, as we close into Christmas break, I can remember many years where I'd be stuffing envelopes, filling out the same form, so a student can apply to 5 colleges, filling out that same form 5 times, stuffing the envelopes, bringing it to the mail room to get sent out. It took a lot of time. But what Naviance basically has done is reduced or eliminated that paperwork and that time commitment so that we can spend our time working directly with students to help them get the support that they need. That is a major upgrade as far as I'm concerned. So Naviance has really helped our jobs as school counselors and college counselors evolve and give that time to students to help them with essays, to help them fill out their applications, their activity lists, and get those detailed questions that they need to have answered, taken care of. In addition to making our jobs, much more higher quality, Naviance will evolve throughout the year as well. What they do is they take feedback from its users, students, counselors, parents, guardians, and they'll take that feedback and use it to change the program so that it is much more user-friendly. So if you have feedback for Naviance, please click the feedback button, which I'll show you later, so that you can provide that information to Naviance. Sometimes it will catch you off guard. It has caught me off guard significantly. Sometimes I'm looking for a tab that I'm used to seeing in the top right corner of the page, and I have to search around for it to find it in the next page over sometimes. But like I said, once you get used to those things, or once you learn how to expect them, you'll find out that Naviance is a wonderful tool and easy to use. After tonight's program, what I would suggest is that you play around with it. After you look at tonight's presentation, play around with the Naviance program. You're not going to goof it up. You're not going to accidentally apply to college. In fact, the best way to learn about the program is to experience it. There are so many tools available to students and families, from finding colleges that meet your criteria like size and location and majors that they offer, to looking at different careers and taking personality assessments and learning about which careers match the personality code that a student has gotten. So what I would say is play around with Naviance. That is the best way to learn about it. Currently, the 11th grade students are already registered for Naviance. And their parents and guardians are going to receive registration for their accounts probably after Junior Parent Night, which is January 18th, 2024. Younger students, sophomores, freshmen, or maybe even middle schoolers, they're going to be notified about their registration process in the future. But if any of you want to get registered for Naviance sooner than later, please contact Anne-Marie Galetto in the College Advisement Center. And the College Advisement Center is a wonderful place especially for seniors. Seniors have been going in there all throughout the fall to visit with college admissions representatives. So we've had at least 100 or so college admissions officers come to McQuaid throughout the fall, visit with our students. We also give presentations in there. We'll do college planning seminars for the juniors in the spring semester there. We'll also have different talks and presentations happen throughout the year, and it's a place for seniors and juniors as well to come in and have their questions answered about their applications. So my suggestion to you is get used to the College Advisement Center and frequent it often. So now I'm going to get into Naviance, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the homepage and how to get into it, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so the best way to get to Naviance is to simply go to your address bar and type in student.naviance.com/MJHS. Then when you get to this page, you'll click on Student, and the students will log in using their email and password, and then you're in the home page. Another way to get into Naviance is by going to Schoology, going to the Schoology groups, and then clicking on the guidance office, the guidance group, and then clicking in resources, and then Naviance/Family Connection. That's really long-winded. Most of our students, once they get in there, once they go through their initial registration process, just Google Naviance and then eventually get to that login page that I showed you previously. But I would just suggest putting it in your favorite bar, and then you have easy access. Okay. Currently, all of the juniors are registered, and their parents and guardians are going to get registration information for their own accounts after Junior Parent Night, which is going to be on January 18th, 2024. All right, you're going to get information from the counseling office as that date approaches, okay? Younger students are going to be like sophomores and freshmen are going to be notified about their registration in the future. If you want to get registered in advance, please contact Anne-Marie Galetto in the College Advisement Center. She's our site manager, and she will get you registered. Now, Ms. Galetto is in the College Advisement Center, as I mentioned, and that's a place for many of our seniors are in there very frequently, especially this time of year in the fall, to meet with college admissions counselors, to go to presentations from colleges, and to get help with their document submissions. So Ms. Galetto will keep track using Naviance to send documents to colleges, so students can go there and troubleshoot and to get help when they need to. All right. Naviance is technically two pieces. All right, so there's the Family Connection component, but then there's also the Naviance Succeed component. Family Connection is specific to McQuaid Jesuit, and that's what students and parents and guardians will use for the college and career search. Okay, so students will have an account, and their parents/guardians will also have an account. All right. Students can add colleges to their list. Parents and guardians can add colleges to their list. Parents and guardians cannot take colleges off a student's list, but essentially you get the same kind of view as the student does as a parent or guardian, without some of the permissions that the student has. Okay. So it's a great tool for all of us to use. The other piece is Naviance Succeed, and that's what we college counselors and Anne-Marie use to manage and track college applications, submit supporting documents like the transcript, letters of recommendation letters, and application forms to different colleges. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is the home page of Naviance. Typically, what we're using more often than not are the colleges tabs and the career tabs. The careers tabs and the self-discovery tabs are typically used by your juniors, at this time of year, the second semester of this year and into the summertime. the colleges is most frequently used, obviously, by us college counselors, as well as the seniors and the juniors use this one a lot as well, because this is where you can store all of the colleges that you're thinking about for future research. Okay, so all of these different areas, when you click on it, you see a bunch of lists. I'll be going over these later. You get your careers here, different links for quick and easy access. I'll talk a little bit about these later, and then the college tabs, which I'll talk about as well. Okay. We typically don't use the planner things, but students can use this to see what tasks they need to accomplish. If we provide any tasks, they can input their own goals, things that they want to do, and obviously take a look at a calendar. All right, right here, it's just quick links to any favorite careers and clusters, colleges I'm thinking about applying to, or scholarships that I have marked as my favorites. Okay, so another quick link. Next to that, you've got your message center. So what I didn't mention is that Naviance, in addition to being a powerful college search and application tool, is also a way for us in the counseling office to communicate with students and families. You can see here that our fictional student, Kent Dorfman, has 54 new messages. He's not been very good at looking at his messages. But you can see information about career forums. You can see information about instant decision day with St. Bonaventure. Hey, submit your first marking period grades to your colleges. Here's some things about you can read yearbook, scholarship, different deadlines, important information. So please make sure that you're checking those out. Okay. This is just a help center right here, a link in case you're in a bind and your counselor's not available. So if you're at home during a break or something like that, and you're trying to figure out how to use Naviance, you can always click on that. And then you get the account information. So this is really useful, I think, for a couple different things. More often than not, students are asking, what's my GPA? Well, if they go to my account and then they click on, their icon and then click on my account, you get the personal information, contact info, but then you can see your weighted GPA, which is what we report to your colleges, listed right here. Okay. You also have a link to what's called the document resources. This is awesome. This is put together by us in the counseling office. You can see the different folders here where the different topics of resources available. All right. So really our seniors are using these. Obviously juniors are going to be looking at this, where you're going to find links to our counseling office YouTube channel where this presentation is going to be aired, and other useful information that's going to help you with the college search and application process. All right. So let's go back to the home page. Right here, this showing planning my future, fictional Kent's future planning. Right now he's thinking about a bachelor's degree. His secondary option would be an apprentice program. And Kent is the person who edits this, okay? So all you have to do is click Edit Path, and you can change that. So maybe he's not interested in an apprentice program right now, but would be, if he doesn't get into a bachelor's program or doesn't like his options there, you can always go for an associate's degree at a two-year college. And you can see how that changes right there. All right. Career goals. These are just some of the careers that I had favorited as a result of the career assessments that I took. All right. And the career assessments are located under here, under self-discovery, and I'll show you those later. Okay. But this is just here for like a little dashboard as a reminder. Okay. This right here is just a message board that Ms. Galetto populates. So this is set up for juniors right now. Welcome to Naviance. We're planning for college now. Okay. If we had any tasks, we would have this area populated. Sometimes we'll put surveys in there that we want students to complete, and that's where you would see those. If there's anything new, Ms. Galetto will populate this as just kind of a, hey, be mindful that you have some college deadlines coming up. Hey, college visits, be mindful that you need to register for this visit. Make sure you do that. So it serves as reminders. Okay. Right here is where you can type in a college name and get information. So you can search for a college using like this college supermatch or this advanced college search, which I'll show you later, or you can simply type in a college's name right here, okay? And it'll take you to that profile. And down from there, this is showing colleges that I'm applying to. So there's two lists. You've got colleges I'm thinking about, and you've got colleges I'm applying to. You know, for our juniors, this is the important list right now, because this is the list of colleges that I want to do a little bit more research on to figure out if they are going to be a good fit for me. All right. Right now, I'm not concerned whether or not I can get in. I might be concerned about it, but that should not be the focus. The focus right now is thinking about, hey, who am I? Why do I want to go to college? Why do I want to go to this college? And figuring out those whys is really, the bulk of the work that we want our students to do at this stage in the game, so that they can feel confident about their college choices. All right. So I populate this list, not me as your counselor, but me as the student. I populate this list from the results of my college searches or simply typing in the college names. Okay. This college that I'm applying to list is for our current seniors. Okay, so what happens is they'll use Naviance to request their transcripts, and then they'll, submit their applications. And once they request their transcripts, these colleges are going to be moved from colleges I'm thinking about to colleges I'm applying to, and that's where we can keep track of the students' progress and making sure that they have all of their required documents ready to go and submitted to the colleges by their deadline. Okay, so this is just quick access to those lists. All I have to do is click this list, and this will take me directly to my colleges I'm thinking about list. Okay, but let's go. Whoops, I do not want to connect right now. Okay, so let's go back to the home page. And by the way, it's best to use these links within the program instead of using your browser's back and forward button. So essentially, you have access to everything by clicking links in the program. That's the best way to navigate through, because you might get bounced out. And I get bounced out periodically, even when I'm actively working on it, but it will save my information. So just keep that in mind as well. Okay. All right, so back on the home page, another thing I wanted to show you has disappeared, which happens from time to time. Let's hit home again. There was the quick link that I wanted to show you right here, view matches, okay? So what you just saw is how Naviance can switch midstream. So when you see a link someplace one day and it's not there the next, doesn't mean it's disappeared. It just means it's been relocated. Naviance evolves every single year, updates and changes every year, but it can also change midstream, which is both a blessing and a curse, because in some ways it makes the user experience more friendly in terms of being able to find what you want, but once you get used to it and then they change it, that can be frustrating. But anyway, this is just showing what colleges might be looking for students like me based on any things that I have saved, like any majors in my Naviance account, or if I have specific colleges or my GPA that I've reported in Naviance. If it likes those things, then I can be connected to different colleges. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to like them. It means that I might want to research them just to see if they're going to be good fits. Okay. All right, let's go back to the home page. And so let's start with the colleges I'm thinking about section here, okay? How do you get colleges in this area? Well, there's a couple different ways. I can search for a college if I want to. I can simply type in the college name. Since it's already there, I'll hit University of Utah and hit search. Try to hit search, okay. And then I get to this list right here. So when I want to look at University of Utah, and by the way, if you didn't see it, University of Utah had little asterisks, three little stars next to its name. That just means that the school has an extended profile, which is listed right here, okay? And so if I like what I see here on this campus, this is like flipping through a brochure. This is what I like to call, tier 1 research, okay? It's easier than flipping through a brochure because you don't have to dig through your bin of all the other brochures to dig out the University of Utah, okay? But what I like about this is that I get a quick link to all these different areas that I might want to investigate to see if this is a college I want to research further or more deeply, okay? So if I click this little heart, Now I've just added it to the colleges I'm thinking about list. And it says, great news, University of Utah would like to connect with you. You can say yes or no thanks. It's not going to impact your decision. It just means that you're going to get more emails from them if you want to. But there's other ways that you can get the same information by connecting with your college admissions professionals or filling out inquiry forms on the college website. Okay, that's probably going to be more productive than doing it through Naviance. All right. So the overview section here, again, just videos and photos to get a greater sense of what the college looks like. And then down here, I get these numbers, average net price. So it breaks it down by income. All right, so you can change the income range to see what your average net price is going to be. Graduation rate, 4-year, 31%, 6-year, 70%. Okay, acceptance rate, 66%. That does not equal quality of education. It just means that 66% of the applicants were accepted. Okay, that's all that means. In addition to that, you've got college overlaps. I like this because if, let's say I'm a student who's struggling to grow my college list. I might have 4 or 5 colleges, but I want 10 or 12 to 15 or maybe even 20 that I want to research to whittle that down to maybe 6 or 7 to 8 colleges that I actually want to apply to. But if I'm trying to grow that list, I can look at this overlaps, which basically means, hey, students that apply to the University of Utah between 2008 to 2024 also applied to these different college campuses that I might want to look into. Again, it doesn't mean that they're going to be good fits, but it might be worth looking at because then I can have a way to grow my college list and have some more opportunities. Because right now it's just about casting a wide net and then searching for a good fit. All right, we're not narrowing it down so much that we're focused in on acceptance rates and focused in on in terms of, hey, how do my SATs and GPAs match up? Because frankly, as a junior right now, we don't have all that information. We don't have a 6-semester GPA. We don't have all of our SAT and ACT scores to submit to really see how we stack up to these other applicants. Okay. And then it gives you information, about deadlines, and you can see all the other deadlines if you were to click on that. Other quick facts are available about the college. And this shows here's our fictional student, Kent Dorfman, with a 90 GPA, shows how he stacks up to the national applicant pool. If there are more students from McQuaid applying to this school, you would have like a McQuaid applicant pool up here. But what I'll say is GPA is pretty subjective. You can see that we report ours on a 100-point scale, but they're reporting on a 4-point scale. And what I'll say is a lot of colleges are going to recalculate GPA anyway because they're really focused on context. What does a GPA mean in context of McQuaid might be different than what it means from a different high school. Okay, so it's up to the colleges to learn about the high schools, to see what opportunities are available and if the student had taken advantage of those opportunities, meaning strength of schedule and things of that nature. Okay, then you see something that is standardized, and that's your SAT and ACT scores. Okay, so fictional Kent Dorfman has a 1220 SAT score, and he's right in the mix of the national applicant pool. And this is shown mid 50%. So what this means is half the students at the University of Utah had between an 1142 and a 1382 on their SATs that submitted the scores and that were accepted. Okay, seeing that I'm in the middle there, heck yeah, I'm gonna submit my scores. Okay, that's another data point for the colleges to use to make an informed decision about my application. Okay, and then you have contact information down here. And my suggestion is to not communicate through Naviance, but to go to that college's website and email them that way. All right, so let's move over to studies. And this is a breakdown of the academic pieces at the University of Utah. You have student to faculty ratio, 17-1. So this is just the number of students for every one teacher at the institution. Not every major is going to be the same. You might have some very, very popular majors with a large number of students where that number is going to be different. Okay, this is an average student to faculty ratio. All right, if I'm going into a major that has a very small percentage of students on the campus involved with it, that number might be even lower. That might be even 6-1. But if I'm going in as I'm just going to guess as a business major, computer science or business are the top areas of study, not necessarily meaning quality or best, but most populated. So business and computer science, I'll probably have maybe a 22-to-1 ratio. So that's going to be different. All right. Similarly, classroom size. Average classroom size will depend on how large that major is. But also as you get into your upper level courses, your 300 to 400 level courses, you're going to see that instead of 150 students in your Psychology 101 class, that you might have like 10 students in your Psychology of Aging course about gerontology. So those numbers will also change through time and across majors. Student retention, 89%, pretty good. All right. And that simply means the percentage of students who return their sophomore year. Okay. If that number's lower, as I mentioned on our this past Monday's presentation, you might want to look into what's happening there or what's not happening for students to come back in their following year. Those questions and those numbers are definitely worth investigating. 69% job placement rate, students who found employment after graduation within 6 months. Okay. This number, I think, also deserves some scrutiny, and you should look behind that as well, because this does not show us like, hey, are they working full-time? Part-time? Are they finding jobs within their majors? Or are a lot of the students going on to graduate school? So a lot of these factors will come into play. So what do these numbers mean? I think deserves some deeper investigation. A lot of the information you can find on the college's website or using the resources that I talked about on Monday's program, Being an Educated Consumer. Okay. All right. Scrolling down, like I said, top areas of study doesn't mean best. It just means your highest populated. Okay, then you get down here and you can see a listing of all of the course or academic offerings or degree offerings at that campus. So I'm gonna click on bachelor's, and that number will change. The list will change a little bit. If I change it to master's, it's probably going to be a little bit smaller. Doctorate, smallest even, but we're typically looking for bachelor's degrees here and to see what's offered. Okay, and so essentially, if I like what I see here in terms of them having a computer science major, which I saw earlier, and I like everything else that I saw under the overview, and then I move on to student life, I'm like, okay, this is a campus-wide Campus Pride Index, which is a new rating that I have not seen in Naviance before. So this is going to be important for some students, right? Very large school size. Like I said, colleges can't really small colleges can't make themselves feel large, but large colleges can make themselves feel smaller by different programmings. So if you're somebody who's interested in having a large college experience, great. But if you kind of want that, maybe you need to look into it to see if maybe it's not a good fit or maybe it's an okay fit. Because what large colleges will do a lot of times is create learning environments, sometimes within the dorms, where they'll have all the bio majors or engineering majors living in one area, and they might even have a faculty advisor or professor setting up office hours within that building to help develop rapport and a good community to help those students feel more connected to the larger college community. Okay. You see your nearest city, distance from my high school, that's a long way. Okay. And that will factor into, your college experience, depending upon, the finances of being able to get back and forth, how often you want to get back and forth, how much stuff you want to bring back and forth. All of these things are extremely important in terms of your lifestyle and the experience that you want on campus. Okay. And this is interesting. Only 11% of students are living on campus. So it seems to me that this is largely a commuter campus. And if that's not the experience that you want, maybe you want to look elsewhere, okay? Then you can also see the breakdown, all right? So you get the ethnic breakdown of the campus, gender, age, residency status, international students versus domestic students, okay? Things of that nature. You get your organizations. You can click on athletics, Greek life, ROTC, all of these. Important information for finding a good fit, okay? Let's move on to admissions. The admissions page is just giving us a specific info on, hey, what kind of students are getting admitted to this school. And I'm not sure that this is going to be the best example. So let's see if we can find a different example. Let's go back to colleges I'm thinking about, because I want to show you. Let's go to St. John Fisher. We like St. John Fisher. Okay, again, they also have an extended profile here. And let's go to the admissions page. 64% accepted. again, does not equal quality of education. And in fact, I do believe I heard a statistic that mentioned 70% of the colleges in this country accept more than 70% of their applicants. Okay, but it's just that a large number of our high school students here and everywhere in the nation apply to a very small number of colleges and universities more frequently, which drives their percent accepted down, making them look more selective. And in fact, most of them are, but it's kind of perpetuating that theme, if you will, because many of the students are applying to those same colleges. Okay, so don't be afraid to diversify, and I'll show you a little bit about that later when we run through the advanced college search. All right. So this is what I really wanted to show you. Okay, this is what we call the scattergram, and so this data, this graph shows on this x-axis you've got your GPA, and on the y-axis you have your SATs. Okay, so what they're saying at St. John Fisher University, students from McQuaid's, the average accepted GPA was an 88.65, and the average accepted SAT was an 1170.84. Pretty specific. Okay, so then you get up here, all of these green check marks are students from McQuaid that were accepted. You get students that were denied. And you can see right here, this blue circle with the silhouette of a person in it, that is our fictional student, Kent Dorfman. So if I was the student's counselor, I would say, hey, you're a really competitive applicant. Okay, I think you got a pretty good shot of getting into this university here. So let's put your application together. Okay, so if I were to go back to colleges and then take a look at, let's just say Georgetown. Look at that, 14% accepted. Okay, much different. 89% graduation rate, much different. Let's go to admissions. All right, so here, this landscape looks a lot different. So here's our fictional student, Kent Dorfman. These red X's are denies. Then you've got wait lists here, which are the purple or bluish circles. Okay, so advising this student, I would say, Georgetown is going to be a reach school for you, so let's set your application to do the best that you can. Put your best foot forward on this application. Because he's listed here, does not mean that he should not apply. It means that he should work very hard to demonstrate interest, demonstrate knowledge, write his best supplemental essays, write his best college essay, and resume, whatever he needs to do. Put that activities list together to provide insights on their experiences, what they've learned, to do the best that they can to have the best application. Because after the application is set up for your reach school, all the other applications are essentially going to fall into place because you're going to have all of that other stuff done to the best of your ability for that reach college. Okay. So just because a college is a reach does not mean that you should not apply. It's just that you should have a realistic understanding of what your what your chances are for getting accepted based on your portfolio. Okay, and your portfolio in Kent Dorfman's case means SAT 1220, GPA 90. But I also don't have his activities list in front of me. I also am not looking at his other extracurriculars. I'm not looking at his essay. He doesn't have his recommendations yet. So all of those pieces are going to come together. It's not just SAT and GPA. Okay, there are several other factors that come into play. So that's another reason why we don't want students to feel discouraged when they apply to the reach school. If you want it, you got to strive for it, but also be realistic in understanding what your chances are. Okay. When you scroll down from there, you get the application requirements. Sometimes you'll see items listed here under optional. Okay, anything that's recommended, anything that's optional, my advice would be to make sure that you do those things to put yourself in the best position. Okay, because colleges are not going to be working on minimum requirements. They want to see students pushing themselves, challenging themselves to the best of their ability. Okay. Then down here, same concept. They're not even listing the minimum requirements. And in fact, it looks like it's a little incomplete on this. I'm not sure why that's not going away. Usually you see 4 right down the board for all of these years recommended, because again, colleges are not working on minimums. They want students to push themselves and strive for excellence. Okay, those are the students that they expect on Georgetown University campus. All right. Then you get your application information, all your deadlines. This is great. Naviance is a great resource for deadlines and other information, including costs. Okay. But it's not the end all be all. I think your best, most up-to-date information is going to be found directly on the college's website. And so that being said, what you can see here is that you can link up directly to the college's website. So what I mentioned before about this, this kind of layout in Naviance is tier 1 research. It's like flipping through a brochure. But if you like everything that you see here, you like that they have your major, you like that, what your chances are for getting accepted, you like that it's going to be a competitive application process, you like the student life opportunities, you like the breakdown of the campus. Well, let's take a deeper dive. All right. And so this is what I like to call tier 2 research. Whenever you go to that college's website, you're going to find your most detailed, up-to-date information. And I always talk about the 3 A's: academics, admissions, and aid. Boom. Academics, admissions, and aid right there. Okay. The academics, obviously, you're going to learn about the areas of study. You can even look at the courses that you're going to take within a particular major, which might move that college up or down on your list based on what you see, okay? The admissions, what are your deadlines? What are the requirements for application? When do I need to get those in? How many recommendation letters do I need, all right? And your financial aid piece is obviously going to talk about your cost of attendance, which is extremely important. It will also link up to different scholarships available for incoming students. It will also link you to a net price calculator, which I talked about in my previous presentation, where you can put in family income to get an estimated financial aid package. All right. So it's really important that you go to that college's website to learn as much as you can in what we call tier 2 research. Now, in case you're really paying attention and you want to know, there is a tier 3 research, and that tier 3 research involves visiting that college campus, seeing it firsthand, and or talking to an admissions representative to get the most updated information that you can, and also provides an opportunity for the student to demonstrate interest, demonstrate knowledge, and how they see themselves fitting into that campus community, and that can go a very long way. All right, let's go back to the home page here. Okay, so I showed you that in colleges, you have colleges that you can store in your colleges I'm thinking about list, but how do you get them there? Okay, well, there's a couple different ways. First, I'll show you very quickly Supermatch College Search. This one's okay. I like it. The benefit of using the Supermatch College Search is that you can move different things back and forth from must-have to things that I would like to have, but it's not an absolute. Okay, and you can see up here the different criteria. You can go location, you can search by state or region, or you can search by zip code. Okay, from like if I want to go 250 miles from, let's say, this school's zip code. Okay, let's do that. Then if I want to put in, like what kind of campus surroundings I'm looking for. I'm looking small cities, suburb near large cities, fine with me. And then I can go to academics. I'm looking specifically for a bachelor's degree. I'm looking for a psych degree. I already populated these areas. I could also put in like a minor. I could also type in several majors and say I'm looking for institutions that have all of those majors. So if I had psychology, but then I also had like elementary education or biology, I could make sure that I had that crossover. If I wanted to transfer, if I wanted to do a double major or a major plus a minor, I want to make sure that that college has that information or that those opportunities available. For the admissions piece, as I mentioned before, we don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle together for students, right? They have not taken, a lot of juniors have not taken their SATs, and they're probably going to take them multiple times even into their senior year. And plus, they don't have that 6-semester GPA that they'll receive at the end of junior year available. So it doesn't make sense to me to start putting in GPAs and SAT scores simply because those are going to change. All right. So my advice to students right now is just simply to look at acceptance rate. You can do a framework here if you want, 51 to like 76 or more % accepted. Okay. So that's going to be a pretty wide range of admission selectivity for me to look at. Okay. But then if I just want to knock it back down, I can do that as well. All right. When you get to student life, This stuff I would leave blank. Doing so, like you can, like I showed you on the school profile, you can search for those items on your own. If you start putting in this data here, you're gonna narrow down your search so much that you're not gonna get any hits. Similarly, is the theme on diversity, institution characteristics, same concept. That's information that you can look for on your own. I guess if you wanted to here under the student body size, you could go all students. If I want to go, I don't want over 20,000. I want small to medium for me. That's going to be fine. And then, cost, athletics, resources, leave that alone for now. Cost is something that's very important. I wouldn't use that as a search criteria up front. That's something that I would look at as you get deeper and deeper into your college search, specifically into the summer, maybe fall of your senior year. Gives you a chance to use the information of SAT scores and data to see how that might affect merit scholarships at some colleges as well. Okay. But since I put in these criteria here, like I said, the must-have versus the nice-to-have, I can say campus surroundings. I'll put that as nice to have. And I have 17 colleges with a percentage of how much they match up. And if I hit Y, it'll show me why that's 89%. Okay. And essentially I can scroll through here and take a look at my options. And this is where I challenge students. It's like, hey, if you never heard of Arcadia University, well, it fits your criteria. You might as well throw it in your college list so that you can look at it more closely to see if it actually deserves to stay there. Okay, so that's what this is for. To get introduced to new colleges that you hadn't thought of because they do fit your criteria, and to learn about or maybe validate the choices that you already had in mind. And in addition, if you are applying to a college where many other students don't go before you, then that could help you out in the admissions process because you're basically knocking out one of the competition pools by not competing against some of your classmates for admission. So that's kind of an interesting concept to think about as well. All right, so you saw me click those little hearts next to the colleges' names, favorited. That means it's just getting added into my colleges I'm thinking about list, which is right here. Okay, so you can see that one has been added. All right, so that was the college super match. Let me show you advanced college search. So advanced college search, this is the one I prefer to use, mostly because I can save my searches right here, which is awesome. Okay, so I did a search here earlier. I'm gonna bounce over to that one. So this is one I called Psych Safe, and so what it shows is I can go to any one of the search criteria that I put, and I could change that. All right. So these are the same 15 colleges that I found, and when I saved to this search, they're all still listed here. Okay. So again, I can click on it, and then I can go to that college profile. Also, if I want to take a look at colleges, if I want to leave all of this stuff the same. So if I like, the 4-year co-ed, small city, large town, 240 miles from that zip code, which I don't remember inputting, that should have been different. Yeah, so it's actually showing that. I'm not sure why that other zip code showed up, but at any rate, that is correct. Now it looks good. So like I said, sometimes Naviance does some funky things, but you just got to find what you're looking for sometimes, and it will correct itself. But at any rate, so if I like this is showing for me based on what I think, myself as a student, Kent Dorfman, 90 GPA, 1220 SAT, I think these are going to be my safer choices. If I want to take a look at, if I want to change percent accepted to 25 to 50, then I'm looking at reach colleges. Okay, so this is a whole nother level of colleges, which for me, Kent Dorfman, might be more difficult to get into. Okay, and again, there's a range, 25 to 50%, but still, that's much more selective than if I'm looking at 75 to 100%. Okay, so that's the cool thing about using this advanced college search. You can see up here, you have the same exact criteria. Your location, you can click on states or the entire region, you can go by the zip code. And just so you know, one thing I'll mention, if I go to type, so when you see these circular toggles, you're only allowed to choose one, but when you see these boxes, you can click several to create a range for yourself. Okay, so that's what I did when I wanted to create a range for campus surroundings. And similarly, these college groups, religious affiliation, other college groups, if you select those, it's going to narrow down your search so much that you won't get any hits. So what I like to focus on are these criteria, the type of college, the location, the campus surroundings, the enrollment and percent accepted, and then obviously when you get into the majors, you can put that in as well. That's you can type in similar to the super college match. You can put in psychology and pair that up with another major to see which college offers both of them, or if you want to do a combination of different things, you can say I'm only looking for colleges that have at least one of these. So there's a lot of flexibility in this. So have fun with it. All right, let's go back to the homepage. And like I said, sometimes it bounces me out. We'll get back in there. Okay, let's get back to the homepage and we'll move on. All right, now I want to talk about the self-discovery tab. So let's go to self-discovery home. And in this area, you have 7 different assessments that students can use just to learn more about themselves. And you're probably going to hear me say the word grow an awful lot, personal insight an awful lot, evolution an awful lot during this part of the presentation. Because in this area, there are so many tools here that go super deep to help students, gain some insight into who they are and how that might connect to a particular college or career. Okay. And for their own success here in high school as they continue to navigate this landscape before moving on to the next phase. Okay. So what I want to do is just talk about some of these. The first one I want to talk about is the Achieve Works Intelligences. All right. So this is part of the Achieve Works suite, and it helps high school students recognize their unique intellect, boost confidence levels, strengthen both emotional intelligence and multiple intelligences, and explore personalized career recommendations. Okay, so the Achieve Works Intelligences, which is very difficult for me to say, the assessment and results provide a more rounded view of clients by looking at the following types of intelligence: emotional, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, naturalist, spatial, and existential. The report also asks individuals to rate themselves on traits of emotional intelligence, which is referred to as EI, and it also provides suggestions to further develop all intelligences. It's founded on Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory, okay, and it's been written and normed specifically for students from 8th to 12th grade, okay, so it's online, fully automated. People who use this can spend more time, we can use this to help our students, we can spend more time helping them, and less time figuring out their personal strengths and challenges, and then connecting them to career plans and creating strategies. So it's less time figuring it out and more time trying to connect the dots, if you will. Okay. So let me just show you the results here. And this thing is going to take about 15 minutes to take. It includes 54 questions. So you'll discover how to deal, the students, when they do this, they'll figure out how they deal with information, how they solve problems, how they create things, and they'll learn how to use their strengths in school, work, and in other activities. And that's essentially the theme throughout all of these different assessments. But you can see, if I just take a look, well, let's just go down here. It shows me my intelligences at a glance. My EI score looks pretty good. I would hope so as a counselor. Gives me just information about, what this means, my strengths and challenges associated with such. So exactly what I had read or what I had told you. That's exactly what this report is about. Okay. More information about my emotional intelligence traits. Okay. Again, these different traits are populated based on how I answered the questions of the test. Like I said, it's not designed to tell me who I am, but to, provide opportunities for insight and then recommend some careers. Okay, so based on this assessment, these are some careers that are connected to those. Okay. All right, let's go back home. Back to self-discovery. And then we'll talk about AchieveWorks learning and productivity. All right, so this used to be called the Learning Styles Inventory, but it helps students identify their sensory and mindset preferences so that they can develop study practices that work best for themselves and find out how they learn best and how they can be most productive. All right, so this one's going to take about 20 minutes. It's got 69 questions. The results will include tips for making study easier and more effective, and provide strategies for how students become more successful and comfortable in class. All right, so let's look at my results. And this one is pretty cool because it might seem like, well, this is really they're asking me about this kind of stuff, like, when do you work best earlier in the day? What kind of light do you like to use? What kind of position do you want your body in? Well, when students know this, they can then put themselves in the best position while they're studying to do their best. So if I know I got to study for a big test on Monday, maybe I should get up on Sunday morning and study because I feel freshest. Based on this, that's the best time to do it, okay? And I would probably want a traditional setting. Maybe I want to go to a study carrel or something like that at the library to do that. Whereas other students might want to have, they want to sprawl out on their floor and roll around and read their notes and have their papers all around them. So to each their own. So again, this helps students gain that insight so that they can apply those things to their daily work, their daily studying tasks and things of that nature. So at any rate, again, this is about insight and applying that so that you can grow and make the most out of your opportunities. All right, the next one, AchieveWorks personality. So this used to be called the Do What You Are. All right, so the AchieveWorks personality helps students identify their personality type by asking them to choose different scenarios that best represent how they would behave in real life. So it'll give a scenario, and I'm kind of giggling here because when we've done this with students in the past, they'll look at the scenario that might talk about, hey, here's Joe is a captain at basketball practice, and Jason is disappointed with his leadership skills and decides to do X, Y, Z. How does Joe react to it? What would you do? And then so instead of just reacting to that scenario, they come up with all these other variables that weren't even mentioned in the scenario, and then that causes confusion. So what we want students to do is just take that scenario verbatim or at face value and say, oh yeah, this is how I would react to it, okay? So don't overthink this too much, okay? So the results will include your personality type, and you can see mine listed right there, ISFJ. And it will also provide tips to achieve success in a way that works for you, as well as, the best fit career options. So let's take a look at my results. So my personality right there, ISFJ, kind of talks what that means, or talks about what that means. And I wanted to show you this graph as well, because this is really important to me because it shows kind of a continuum. And although it looks like I'm mostly introverted, I'm not all the way to the end. And this prompts me to tell students that you're not always going to act the same way in all situations. I might be more introverted at a party with unfamiliar people than I am if I go to a rock concert, for example, or than I am when I am in school, because I feel really confident in this situation. So I tend to be more extroverted than introverted. Okay, so you're not always one or the other. You're on a continuum, and it can be influenced by the environment in which you're in. Okay. So then it gives me more information about my personality and explains what those things mean, how that affects my learning, what my strengths are, what my challenges are, recommendations for learning activities. Again, some work and productivity. This to me is pretty darn true. Communication styles. Okay. Tend to ramble. Hopefully not experiencing that today. Working with others, strengths and challenges again. So this is cool. All of these points, you could say to a student, all right, think about when you're communicating or when you have conversations with people. Think, are there moments where you're really perceptive? Are moments when you're really kind and considerate? Are there moments when you're like, oh, I need some positive reinforcement, I'm feeling unsure of myself? These are, again, tools to help students gain some insight as it relates to their careers and to themselves, okay? So again, you get your recommended careers down here, and then anything that looks good, all you got to do is hit the little the favorite button, and then it goes right into your favorite careers that you can locate from your home page. Okay, favorite careers and clusters. All you got to do is hit that, and I'll get right back to it. Okay, so what's next? We're looking at AchieveWorks skills. All right, so the AchieveWorks skills looks at the skills that are critical in both school and the workplace. It ensures students are prepared for college and work ready with greater understanding of their skill set and gives ways to develop their individual skills. So this is based on 50 years of ongoing what they call Hexaco research. The AchieveWorks skills provides insight into the complex skills identified as critical for academic and employment success. There are 15 distinct skill facets comprised of 5 skills within the report, and they are conscientiousness, creativity, critical thinking, leadership, and social emotional. Along with their skills, students will find details for each skill, ways to develop independent skills, and a list of careers that match their top skills. Okay, so let me show you an example of that. All right, so here's my skills report. Conscientiousness, social emotional, critical thinking are my top 3s. My lower 2 are creativity and leadership. And again, here's the skill. Here are the skill facets. Okay, again, just information provides insight. All right. Students are allowed to agree or disagree to this. It's always best to have a conversation with a counselor or another adult. Okay. And then they give you like different examples, recommendations for all of these different areas. Okay, so instead of watching me scroll, let's move on to the next one. You get to the Career Cluster Finder. All right, so the Career Cluster Finder, in this, the students will indicate activities and school subjects that they like or dislike, and then personal qualities that they possess. It's going to take about 20 minutes, and there are 108 questions, okay? In the results, the students will learn how each of the 16 national career cluster fits their current interests and qualities. All right. So, for me, my highest scoring clusters are human service, education and training, hospitality and tourism, and then architecture and construction. I can only think this is there because of all the housework that I do. And then, of course, I can favorite those clusters I want, and then I can look at different careers that match those. Again, here's just a different view of my clusters. And here's my cluster interest profile. A lot of information. Different qualities that apparently I have. Okay, and again, it's things for me to look at and reflect upon in the name of personal insight and growth. Okay. This one I really like, and it's the Career Interest Profiler. This one is based upon John Holland. So this captures your interests to help you determine your personality traits and suggest careers based on the U.S. Department of Labor's data. The test will take about 15 minutes, and there are 60 questions about interests. In this one, unlike the Achieve Personality, I want students to think about it a little bit more. It's going to ask them, hey, do you like to build kitchen cabinets? It's not really asking you if you like to build kitchen cabinets. It's, do you like to work with your hands? Do you like carpentry? Do you like construction work? It's going to ask you if you like to input data on a calculator. It's not necessarily meaning if you like to input data on a calculator, but do you like that data entry, that interface with, like a computer or other technological device, all right? So we want students to overthink this a little bit more. Instead of thinking, do you like to dig holes? No, do you like to work outside in variable conditions? So when the students say that they like to do something, or if they like a task, it's going to be connected to one of these personality types: conventional, realistic, social, artistic, investigative, and enterprising. And those are all different personality types. And your 3 highest scoring personality type is going to give you what's called a Holland code, because John Holland is the person that made up this test. So my Holland code is CRS, conventional, realistic, and social. Okay. And so basically what I can do then is look at careers that are matched up to that Holland code. And when I do that, they're all going to be listed in terms of preparation. So little to no preparation is first, moving on from there to some preparation, medium preparation. Of course, you can show more to see what other options are. But apparently there wasn't anything available for considerable preparation. I'm not sure why that is. It was probably a result of how I answered the questions. But again, you get to these different careers and you say, yeah, I like it. So let's just say, for example, let's not go on. I'm going to show you the career profile after this. I want to show you the last assessment first. So let's go back to Self-Discovery Home. Okay. And the last one you have is called the Strengths Explorer. And the Strengths Explorer is going to help students uncover talents and reveal potential strengths to themselves and to the people in the world. And this one takes about 20 minutes and it is 78 questions. So it's going to provide explanations of your top 3 themes, strategies on how to capitalize on your success, and a list of action items so you can continue building on those strengths. And the results are also going to include a list of best fit career pathways. All right, so when I click on this, here are my top 3 teams: organizer, dependability, and caring. So then I can click on the full report to learn about what that means, some more details upon that, action items. All right, tell me what I like to do. If not, maybe I can try to do some of those things if I haven't done them. They're assuming, because of those are my 3 themes, that I have these action items. But if not, that might be something I want to take on just to learn more about. Okay, it's like, hey, I think about this, I can think about it, but then I got to take action. As Jesuits like to say, contemplatives in action, right? So let me go back to the section, go back here. Because if you really want to take action, you can use this workbook. And I got to say, unfortunately, in all my time here, I haven't known any students that use this. But if you want to be intentional in terms of developing your themes and experimenting and taking notes and reflecting and trying new things, this is a really good way to do it. Students can keep track of how they interact with their peers, their teachers, actions they take, actions they don't take, and see how everything kind of fits into, what they want their high school experience and beyond to be like. Okay, so it's a wonderful resource. Again, it's there. It's all free. All right. Okay, so I did want to mention, like I talked so many times about, having careers being matched with all of these different assessments. So what do you do when you look at those careers? So let's look at my favorite careers that I have in here. Okay, I only have a few in here, but students can put as many as they want in this area. All of these different athletic trainers is one of them. All of these different careers, whenever you click on it, is going to take you to this nice overview page. All right. You get the overview of the application, some of the clusters and the pathways as described by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They tell you what they do. You can see the different wages. Our students always like to learn about this. If I'm going to be an athletic trainer, I guess I can make the most money in Texas, it seems. But again, these are averages. This is very individualized, I will say. And it talks about the related Holland trait, which I talked about earlier. So for me, I'm just missing the conventional, I think is what I was. But at any rate, some of it fits with me, but not all of it. So this might be a good career for me in some ways, but maybe not in some others, okay? Also, what related majors? This is nice, because if you're interested in a career, you might want to learn about the path to get there, which is looking at your educational path. So this suggests that radiation protection / health physics technician. You could probably also major in biology. So I think that they're missing the boat here on some of the other majors that are related to becoming an athletic trainer. And then you also get your related careers as well. Okay, that just prompts some more investigation, some more research that the students might want to get interested in. Okay, skills and experience. This is just a quick way to get through there. I like this. It shows the most important areas of knowledge that you have to have, right? Makes sense. Medicine and dentistry, therapy and counseling. This is the people. This is the medical aspect, right? Customer and personal service. You're interacting with people all the time as an athletic trainer. You're working with them. You're working on them, okay? What kind of skills? Active listening, monitoring, of course, watching progress. What abilities do you have? Okay? Activities that you're going to be doing, assisting and caring for others of utmost importance, documenting, recording information connected to monitoring, which we saw in the other one, okay? Tasks. All right, a lot of different tasks that you need here. So again, learning, information. The more information you have as a student about this process, the better you'll be at making a confident decision about the path that you want to make, okay? So let's go back to the home page. And this is where I'll wrap things up. What I suggest to you is to get into Naviance and explore. As I said, you're not going to mess it up. It is a wonderful tool. It is a powerful tool for students. It's a great tool for us in the counseling office because it allows us to have time to work directly with the students instead of pushing paper across our desk in the college realm. And it's going to help you and your student really gain some insight into themselves as it relates to their college search and application process. So don't be afraid of it. Get into it. Get experience with it. Ask questions about it. And have fun. And please contact us with anything that you need. Thanks, and have a great night.